Hi, hello, good evening students. How are you? Sorry for the delay. We are 3 minutes late for the day. And today we'll be doing our environment. There was slight discussion as to is this chapter deleted chapter or no, or what are the topics that is most important, what is that which have to be discussed. So that's why the delay happened. Okay, sorry about it. Let's not delay further. We'll start off with our environment. Okay. As we always do, we'll be doing the MCQs first and then some assertion and reason questions. Then we have some short answers, long answers, as well as the HOTS, okay, where you have to think, analyze and answer. Okay. Let's see if we have so much of time, if there is time constraint. The PDF will be available in the comment section. Kindly download. The link will be posted once the session is done. You can download it and go through the rest of the questions if in case we are not able to complete. Alright. So, we will start off with the first question, MCQ. Okay. The first question says, the decomposers in an ecosystem convert organic material to inorganic forms, convert inorganic material into simpler forms, convert inorganic material into organic compounds, do not break down the organic compounds. Okay. So, as you always do, okay, probably there is some technical reason, technical issue, Sumukh, I am not really sure. And by the way, good evening Rohit, Sumukh and Netra. So, 3 students have said good evening to all the 3. I don't know where the lag is, but we will try and get it fixed. Okay. So, please give in your answers. We have Rohit giving the answer, Gautami saying C, Rohit saying B. Okay, what are the decomposers, children? Decomposers are the microbes or the ones, the saprophytes which feed on dead and decayed material. Infinite in one, says A. Very good. Okay. So, there is this is a very simple question, children, that you should be answering in less than a second actually. Okay, Netra is asking a question mark as usual. Is it A, ma'am? Okay. So, what are decomposers? Any material, your household waste which you throw out, correct? It could be as simple as a vegetable peel or a fruit peel, your tea powders, coffee powder, the dust, correct? Or an eggshell, correct? What are these? What are these? They are all materials which are organic, children. So, all the decomposers, the microbes are going to convert organic material into inorganic forms. Okay. So, they are breaking down complex material into simple material. It is not inorganic material, it is organic material. Alright. Which statement shows the interaction of an abiotic component with a biotic component in an ecosystem? Okay, so we have few examples. A grasshopper feeding on a leaf, rainwater running down into the lake, earthworm making a burrow in the soil, mouse fighting with another mouse for food. Alright. So, I hope you know what is a biotic and abiotic material, children. Correct? So, biotic is the one which has life. Abiotic is the one without life. Okay. So, which is a good example? Netra says A. Okay. So, Netra, just quickly think, if leaf is biotic or abiotic, aren't we dealing with plants, Netra? Plant is living, right? Plant is respiring, right? How is it not a biotic material, Netra? Again, Sumukh, same question to you. Grasshopper is living. Leaf is also living. How can it be A? Okay. So, we have Gautami who has given the correct answer. Correct. If you look at grasshopper, it is living, leaf living, rainwater and lake. Both are abiotic. Earthworm living, soil non-living, mouse living, another mouse living. So, what is the answer, children? The answer is earthworm making a burrow in the soil. Correct. So, earthworm is living, soil is non-living. Okay. Yes, Netra. Which of the following are environment friendly practices? Carrying a cloth bag to put purchases while shopping, switching off unnecessary lights and fans, walking to school instead of getting your mother to drop you on her scooter, all the above. Very simple question. I think grade 7, 8 students can answer these questions. What do you think is an environment friendly practice, children? Given your answers, very simple question. I don't think you should be breaking your head about this simple question. Correct? Yes. Okay. Gautami, Infinite in 1, Netra, Sumuk, all of you all very good have given the correct answer. It is going to be all the above, which is D. Okay. The amount of energy that flows from one trophic level to another trophic level in a food chain. So, this is a very repeated question, children, that have been seen in the previous year question papers. Most important, please give in your answers, what is the amount of energy that is going to flow from one trophic level to the other trophic level? 5%, 10%, 20%, 15%. Okay, Sumukh has given the answer, very good. Okay, I hope you know what are the trophic levels. Again, that's a long answer question. Okay, Infinite in 1, Netra, Gautami, all of you all have given the correct answer, very good. So, it is going to be option B, which is 10%. So, the other very repeated question, concept is the same, question being asked is a long answer form. They have asked to describe the different trophic levels and they have asked to explain the 10% law, children. Okay. So, you know that the trophic level is the flow of energy between different organisms. So, we are going to have the producers, primary consumer, correct, and then we have the secondary consumer and we are going to have the tertiary consumer, correct. These are the different trophic levels T1, T2, T3 and our producers are always the plants, green plants, and these plants are going to get energy from the sun. Okay. So, plants are going to utilize the energy from the sun and they are going to transfer this energy to the primary consumer gets transfers this energy to secondary consumer, secondary will transfer the energy to the tertiary consumer, and every time they are going to transfer the energy, it is going to be only 10%, children. What happens to the extra energy? Or let us say the plant has produced 100 joules of energy, only 10% of it is being transferred to the primary consumer. The reason being, the remaining 90% is utilized by the plant for its own metabolic activities, correct. What are the metabolic activities in a plant? Plant doesn't do much work. It is not going to run or swim or dance or sing like you and me, correct. It does not have locomotion. Still, it does work like respiration, correct. It is going to transfer water and food to different parts from the root to the stem. So, whatever metabolic activities is happening to the plant, it is going to utilize the remaining 90%, but, and Rohit is saying 1%, yes, out of the sun, okay, there is only a small portion of rays that is going to give, okay, the sun is going to give power, it is not giving 100% energy to the plants, okay. So, out of the sun gives very less amount of energy, which is less than 10%, less than 5%, that is called as photosynthetically active radiation, okay. So, power is photosynthetically active radiation which the sun gives to the plant, only that is being utilized, okay. Out of that, whatever is being given to the plants, out of that the plants are going to utilize maximum for their metabolic activities and respiration. The remaining is going to be stored or lost in the form of heat and it is going to transfer only 10%. So, that 10% whatever the first person receives, he is going to utilize for his metabolic activities and transfers the remaining 10%, okay. This is the 10% law. But when it comes to utilization of toxic materials. This concept is biomagnification, children. What is biomagnification? The accumulation of toxic waste, okay, or toxic metals increases as you go higher in the food chain. So, first person is consuming, let's say, 1%, okay. As it goes higher in the trophic level, it becomes double, double and double, okay. So, this person will have double the amount of toxic material, this person will have double of this, and this person is going to have double of this, okay. So, the person who is highest in the trophic level will have the maximum amount of toxic material accumulated in him. That is called as biomagnification. Alright. The manufacturing of chlorofluorocarbons free refrigerated is mandatory throughout the world. How does this help prevent the ozone depletion? Okay. So, they are manufacturing CFC free refrigerators all over the world. How is it going to prevent the ozone depletion is the question. This will help convert oxygen molecules into ozone. This will help convert CFCs into ozone molecules. This will reduce the production of CFCs from oxygen molecules. This will reduce the release of CFCs that reacts with ozone molecules. Okay. So, how do you think that CFC free refrigerator is going to help prevent ozone depletion? Okay. So, we have Sumuk and Infinite in 1 giving us option D. We have Netra who has also said D. Anyone else? Okay, so we have just 3 students who have given us the answer, which is indeed right. That's going to be option D. So, these CFCs, okay, which are going to release, they will react with the ozone and they result in the formation of ozone hole, correct? So, if there is no CFC in the refrigerator, there will be no release of the CFC. So, what happens? Your ozone layer is protected. Okay, the primary consumers are carnivores, herbivores, omnivores, producers. So, we already know which trophic level the producers are. So, who do you think are the primary consumers? Since we already know that producers are going to be plants, what do you think are the primary consumers, children? Most simple question this is. I think you all can answer it by now. Correct? Okay, still there is a doubt for this question. Okay, Sumukh has not given the answer. Some say D, some say B. Okay, Gautami, okay. I think Infinite in 1 has got it wrong. D is producers, which are plants, ma. So, the first person who feeds on plants, who are the first person who feeds on plants called? They are all vegetarians, correct? So, when we call them in a group, what is that called? Okay, we have one important person, Arjun, who is giving us the answer here. It is so simple. Okay. So, it is going to be herbivores. Okay. So, herbivores are vegetarians who are going to consume the plants. Alright. Which of the following is responsible for the depletion of ozone layer? Chlorofluorocarbons, oxygen, SO2, CO2. Okay, sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide. So, what do you think is the most important substance that is going to result in the depletion of ozone layer? Okay, we just discussed about this question. What is causing the depletion of the ozone layer? So, what do you think is the answer? Is it CFC, is it oxygen, sulfur dioxide or carbon dioxide? Why your replies are getting slow? Okay, I think there is a technical issue, Sumukh. I am not really sure of it. Okay, there is a lag. Maybe as told, you can refresh your system and check. Okay. Okay. So, I think most of them have given the correct answer, which is chlorofluorocarbons. Very good. So, CFCs are one of the most important cause for. Why is it not moving? Okay. So chlorofluorocarbons, I think now it should be better. Sumukh, I think now it has been cleared. Please check. Okay. So CFCs, they are the topmost substances which are going to cause the depletion of the ozone, resulting in ozone hole, because of which people can get skin cancer. Very good. Okay. What is the order of waste management hierarchy from the most to the least favored? Okay, so we are going to give the hierarchy of waste management starting from the most to the least. Okay, yeah, I think it's good now. Okay. Prevention, recycle, reuse, disposal. Prevention, reuse, disposal, recycle. Prevention, disposal, reuse, recycle. Prevention, reuse, recycle, disposal. So when we are talking about waste management, I am sure most of you would have studied garbage in, garbage out in your lower classes, correct? So based on that, what do you think is the hierarchy of waste management starting from the most to the least favored? Okay, we have Sumukh who's given the answer. Very good. Anybody else? Somebody, I don't P2W. Okay, I don't know the person unless and until you give me your name. Okay. Gautami, Netra, Harshavardhan, Kushi, what do you think is the answer? We have only one person who has answered this question. Correct? Okay. So let's go with the answer of Sumukh. Very simple it is. It is going to be prevention, reuse, recycle, disposal. What do I mean by this, children? First of all, let us prevent the usage of plastics or the non-biodegradable materials. So when I know that this particular component is not going to be broken down into simple molecules, let me not use it. Okay. So that's the first thing we follow. Prevention. Prevention is avoiding the usage of plastics and non-biodegradable substances. Still, I have no other choice. I need to use a plastic cover. I have to go to a shop. Unfortunately, there is no jute bag or cloth bag. The shopkeeper gives me a plastic bag. Then what do? I have to use it, right? Because I have no other choice. So what will I do? I will reuse it. Okay. So I will reuse that plastic bag again and again and again until and unless it is possible that it can be recycled. So then I will send it for recycling and finally dispose it. Okay. So that's what is waste management. An environment friendly practice is using CFLs at homes and offices, using the car to go to a nearby place, using AC in every room, burning plastics. Okay. So what do you think is an environment friendly practice? I hope all of you know what is CFLs. Compact fluorescent lamps. Okay. CFL stand for compact fluorescent lamps. I am sure all of you must be using it at home. Okay. If somebody still did not get an idea as to what it is, kindly Google it, you will find CFLs. Okay. So what do you think is a environment friendly practice? Do I need to take the car to go to a nearby place? Do I need to use AC in every room? Or I just burn plastics? Or use CFLs at homes and offices? Okay, the last class I had told you one simple concept of elimination method, correct? You don't know the answer. So check every option. Is this what? It could be definitely if I go to a nearby place using a car, what will happen? Not only am I causing air pollution, giving out the smoke or diesel, correct? Usage of petrol, correct? Fuel consumption is more, smoke, noise pollution is more, using AC in every room, again CFC is being released, correct? Burning plastics, correct? First of all, plastics are non-biodegradable. So what are we doing? We are increasing the pollution. So what is it? It is going to be using compact fluorescent lamps at home. Okay. It is the white bulb, children, whatever you use at home, no? The one which something like a tube light in a smaller version, that's CFLs. Okay. All of you might be using it at home. Maybe it's just that you're not able to correlate. So this consumes less power. Okay. It consumes less electricity and it is good. Okay. The cleaners of nature are producers. Okay, here we have producers again. Let us change this to consumers. Herbivores, decomposers. Okay, so cleaners of nature, who does the cleaning job? Do producers do the cleaning job, or consumers do the cleaning job, herbivores do the cleaning job, or decomposers do the cleaning job? What is the cleaning job? Cleaning job is breaking down all the organic waste into simpler forms. Very good. So I think most of you have got it right, and that's all done by the decomposers, mostly the microorganisms, saprophytes. Harshavardhan said, see, okay, they are primary consumers, Harshavardhan. Okay, no problem, we are all learning. So cleaners means they are going to clean up the environmental waste by breaking down the organic materials into simpler forms. All right. Ozone hole may cause mutations, global warming, skin cancer, all of these. What do you think if the ozone has a hole? Okay. Please given the answer, I think the question is being discussed, still we have the answers coming. Yes, Harshavardhan, we had discussed that. Okay. So ozone hole, ozone is being depleted, there is a hole. What do you think will happen? Yes, Sumukh has given the answer. There can be mutations which is happening. What is mutation? Sudden change in our DNA. Correct? Definitely it's going to heat up the whole environment, the earth. So that's going to be global warming, and all the rays can enter into our skin causing cancer. So that's going to be all of these, which is option D. Okay, which of the following constitutes a food chain? Very simple question. Grass, goat and human, goat, cow and elephant, grass, fish and zebra, grass, wheat and apple. So what do you think constitutes a food chain? Okay, very simple question. This is again a lower level, lower grade question which you can answer. Okay, I don't know if Gautami is given the answer for this question or the previous question. Okay. Sumukh says A, the first to answer. Anybody else is still thinking on it? Okay. So if you look at the options, so we have Harshavardhan, Netra, Kushi and Sumukh who have given the same answer. Very good, that's the correct answer, which is option A. Okay. So grass, which is a producer plant, being eaten up by a primary consumer, which is goat. Goat is being eaten up by a human being who is a secondary consumer. Okay, most simple question. All right. Which of the following statement regarding recycling is wrong? So we are talking about recycling. They are asking us which of the following is a wrong statement. Saves precious resources, requires stable market, improves efficiency of treatment process, increases the need for mining virgin materials. Okay, this is something to do with mining, okay, where they keep on recycling the materials. They are asking us which of the following is wrong with respect to recycling. Please think and answer. It's actually a simple question which could be confusing. Okay, so you know what is recycling. Very simple example that I gave you is going on and on the usage of the plastic cover which you receive. Okay, you keep reusing it until you send it for recycling. Okay, so what do you think is wrong? Nobody to answer. Sumukh, Kushi, Netra, Harshavardhan, Gautami, infinite in one. Okay, so Sumukh is asking me, is it C, ma'am? Gautami says B. Netra says D. So the only left out option is A now. Nobody has given A. Saves precious resources. Okay. So we have different options being given by different people. So the answer is increases the need for mining virgin materials. Correct. Just now I said mining virgin materials means what? They need to keep on recycling. Correct. So what is wrong here? there is no need, it does not increase the need at all when automatically it is happening, right? There is no need to increase it. There is no point in increasing. So, we have only Netra who has given the correct answer. Okay. So, we have assertion and reason questions here. So, assertion is telling food chain is responsible for entry of harmful chemicals into our body. The reason says the length and complexity of food chains vary greatly. Correct? So, here it is the concept which I spoke earlier, that is biomagnification. What I told, biomagnification is accumulation of toxic materials as you increase higher in the trophic level. Correct? So, keeping that in mind, please check the assertion. Food chain is responsible for the entry of harmful chemicals in our body. Reason is saying the length and complexity of food chain vary greatly. Okay. So, we have Infinite in 1, Netra and Sumukh who have given option B. Okay, Gautami also says the same, Harshvardhan has also said the same thing. Very good, children. So, that is going to be option B. The first is the concept of biomagnification. As you go higher in the trophic level, the concentration of toxic chemicals increases. Okay. The length and complexity of food chain vary greatly. That is also true. I can have a food chain with just primary consumer where I have a grass and a goat, or I can have a secondary consumer, a man who is eating the goat, or I can have a tertiary consumer where I see a lion or a tiger feeding on the man. Correct? So, it depends on the ecosystem what we are talking about. So, the length and complexity varies greatly depending on the ecosystem. But the assertion talks about biomagnification, the reason talks about the food chain. So, there is no comparison, there is no relationship between the two. So, both are right, but there is no correct explanation. Next assertion, greater number of individuals are present in lower trophic levels. Reason, the flow of energy is unidirectional. Okay, very simple again. Assertion is talking about greater number of individuals present in the lower trophic level. Reason is saying the flow of energy is unidirectional. Again, we have discussed the food chain here. Based on that, given your answers. What do you think is the answer? Yes, Sumukh. Okay. All right. They have given us the answer. Sumukh and infinite in 1. Anybody else? Okay. Netra says A. We have Gautami, Sumukh, infinite in 1. See, I think Weeksha, if I remember the name, right, correct? Infinite in 1. Weeksha, hope my memory is not so bad. I'm just thinking Weeksha. Okay. So, all of them have given B as the answer, correct? Yes, except for Netra who says A. So, Netra, just read the assertion and reason once again. Greater number of individuals are present in the lower trophic level. What is the lower trophic level? The lowermost trophic level is the producer, which is always the plants. Definitely the number of producers should be much higher when compared to the consumer. Correct? Yes. Yes, Weeksha. Okay. So, the number of plants are always higher, then only the ecosystem can sustain itself. Otherwise, consumers will not have food. Correct? Yes. So, there should be more number of individuals in the lower trophic level. The reason is saying the flow of energy is unidirectional. Definitely again, yes, plants are getting it from the sun. Plants send it to primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer. Correct? Yes. But the first one is talking about producers. The second one is talking about the energy flow. So definitely there is no relationship. We would say it is option B. Okay, next assertion, herbivores are called the first order consumers. Reason, tiger is a top carnivore. Very simple, correct? So assertion talks about herbivores are called first order consumers. Reason is saying tiger is a top carnivore. Okay, the moment you look at it itself, you know that there is no correlation. That is easier. But what do you think is the answer? Is it A, B, C or D? Herbivores are called first order consumers. Okay, we have Sumuk, Viksha, I don't know if Kushi has given it for this question or the previous question. Okay. 3 people, Netra, all of them have given the same answer, which is option B. All right. So it is again the same thing. Herbivores are first order consumers. They are our primary consumers who feed on plants. They are all vegetarians. Reason, tiger is a top carnivore. Correct. It is going to occupy the highermost category, like I told. Tiger eating the man. That's a top carnivore. So both are correct. But there is no correlation between the both. Alright, so it's option B. Next assertion, decomposers keep the environment clean. Reason says they recycle matter by breaking down the organic remains and waste products of the plants and animals. Okay, most simple. So assertion is talking about decomposers, that's your microbes who are going to keep the environment clean by breaking down the organic molecules into lower things. Reason is saying that they recycle the matter. Okay, most easier, Viksha, Gautami, Sumuk, yes, very good, most of them have got it right. So there is a correlation between the assertion and reason. It's a direct answer. You just say because they are keeping the environment clean because they are able to break down this, isn't it? So that's going to be option A. Very good. Next question. Assertion says the concentration of harmful chemicals is more in human beings. Reason says man is at the apex of the food chain. I hope you know what is apex. Apex means the topmost. Okay. Apex means the topmost. So please think and answer. Okay. So assertion is saying concentration of harmful chemicals is more in human beings. Reason is saying man is at the apex of the food chain. Okay. So we have Sumuk, Viksha, Netra who have all given us the correct answer. Correct? Yes, Gautamin. Again Netra has given, yes Netra, I saw the answer. So that's going to be option A. Just add because here, that gives you the reason. So as we go higher, the accumulation of toxic materials increases and it's going to be highest in human beings because we are occupying the topmost part of the trophic level. Alright. Assertion says polythene bags and plastic containers are non-biodegradable substances. Reason says they can be broken down by microorganisms into natural, simple, harmless substances. Okay. Again, a simple one. Polythene bags, plastic containers are non-biodegradable substances. Reason says they can be broken down by microbes into natural, simple, harmless substances. Most simple question, most easier question also. Okay, Viksha, Gautami, Netra, Sumuk. I think all of them have got it right, which is option C. Assertion is true. Definitely polythene bags and plastics are non-biodegradable. The reason is they cannot be broken down, but here they say it can be broken down, but it cannot be broken down. Alright. Assertion says wastes such as plastics, paper, vegetable or fruit peels which are generated in our house daily are biodegradable. Reason says biodegradable waste can be broken down into simpler, harmless substance in nature and in due course of time by the biological process such as action of microorganisms. Okay, this question seems a little huge. You know the four options of assertion and reason, right? I expected most of you to give one particular answer. As expected, we have students giving the answer. So, let us see who gets it right. Okay, please read the question and answer it. Okay. So, we have Viksha saying A, correct. Netra says A. Harshvardhan and Sumukh says C, I guess. Okay. Okay, now Gautami says C, Harshvardhan says D. Okay, are they altering the answers? Okay, so you've been giving different options. So this question, children, has been repeated in 2-3 PYQs. Okay, so the moment we look at the assertion, our eyes sees vegetables, fruit peels, paper, and they say it's biodegradable. But there is a word called plastic here. Okay, Netra. Finally, Netra has said D. Okay. So, there is a word which is plastic there which confuses. Yes, yes. So, this question is given just to confuse students by putting vegetables, fruit peels, paper, etc. along with plastics. So, let us not get confused in the paper. Read the question properly and answer it. Okay. So, plastic is non-biodegradable. Correct. So, what is the option? Option D. Okay, assertion is false but reason is true. Alright, next we will take up some questions. In the following food chain, plants provide 500 joules of energy to rats. How much energy will be available to hawks from the snakes? Okay, this is again a repeated PYQ they have asked, okay, in different numbers here. Okay, so what do you think is the answer, children? In the following food chain, the food chain is plants to rats, rats to snakes, snakes to hawks. Correct? So, we have the plants who is going to give 500 joules of energy to the rats. Okay? They are asking us how much energy will be available to hawks from the snakes. Alright, Sumukh has given us the answer. Very good. Anybody else who is ready with the answer? Okay, so we have only one student who has given us the correct answer. Very good, Sumukh. Okay, so how do you solve this question? This question follows 10% law, children. Okay, so what is this 10% law? Every time there is an increase in the trophic level. Okay, why has Sumukh changed? Sumukh, you were right earlier. Why did you change? Okay, we are talking about hawks. You have changed the answer. Okay, so every time there is a increase in the trophic level, there is 10% of energy that's being given. So, we start off with 500. So, the next trophic level, rats to snake, is going to be 50, correct? 10% of this. Then snakes to hawks is going to be 5 joules, correct? So, the answer is 5 joules. I think even Gautami had given the answer. She has deleted it. Okay. So, every time there is an increase in the trophic level, we are going to focus on the 10%. Alright. Why has Harshvardhan and Sumukh given? This is plants to rats. Okay, it can't be 0. Plants to rats is 500 they are telling. Rats to snakes will be 10% of that, which is 50. Snakes to hawks will be 10% of this, which is 5. Okay, it is not 0, it is not 50, but it is 5 joules. Okay. All right. In a food chain of frog, grass, insect and snake, assign the trophic level to frog. Okay. So, they have given you different organisms. These are all answer questions, students. Okay. Sometimes it is being asked as HOTS also. So, please think and answer. We have a organism which is being given to us: frog, grass, insect and snake. And they are asking us, no problem Sumukh, no problem, as long as you understood the concept, I am happy. Okay, we are all learning anyway. So, just that you need to concentrate when such questions are being given. Okay. All right. So, we have Viksha who's saying third trophic level. We have Sumukh who's saying second trophic level. Anybody else? Where do you see such a food chain? Can you assign the trophic level and tell which? Okay, Viksha has now, okay, she still says secondary consumer. Okay, let's see the food chain. So, we have grass here eaten by insects, insect eaten by frog, frog eaten by snakes. Okay. So, this is a food chain. So, the frog is going to belong to the third trophic level. Okay. So, Viksha has got it right, Kushi has got it right, Gautami has got it right, Sumukh has got it wrong. Okay. So, grass being eaten by the insect, insect being eaten up by a frog and frog eaten by a snake. So, here if we are focusing on the frog, it is secondary consumer, that is the third trophic level. All right. Why do producers always occupy the first trophic level in every food chain? Okay. So, this question I have already given the explanation for it. So, always the producers are plants, correct? So, producers are green plants. They are going to make use of the energy from the sun in the presence of carbon dioxide and water and make their own food with the help of photosynthesis. But human beings or animals, we all depend on plants directly or indirectly for food. We cannot make our own food, correct? So, since they are able to make their own food, they are present in large numbers, and it's those organisms who cannot make their own food depend on these producers for food. So, that's why green plants are going to be present maximum in number. All right, give an example to illustrate that indiscriminate use of pesticides may result in the degradation of the environment. Okay, this question again has been repeated in many of the question papers, children. So, example to illustrate, you can give any example. Okay, again it is an application based question which is talking about the concept of biomagnification. So, already I told you about biomagnification, correct? So, biomagnification, here we are giving the example of pesticides, or you can give some insecticide or weedicide, anything. So, what are these pesticides used for? They are sprayed across the plants in the field so that they keep the animal pests away from spoiling your food materials. That can be cereals or fruits or vegetables, and these are all non-biodegradable, plus they are toxic. Okay. So, most common example that you can give is DDT, correct? DDT is a very common pesticide that's being used across farmers, okay, in their fields. Dichloro-dimethyl trichloroethane is the chemical that's being used to spray across the field so that it keeps the insect pests away. But what happens? The birds which come into the field, they start eating up this DDT. Okay. So, what happens is, when the birds eat these DDT, they cannot tolerate this amount of pesticide. So what happens, I told you, as you go higher in the trophic level, the biomagnification concept is seen. So when, if let's say if these plants are there in water, lotus, and the farmer is spraying there, fishes will eat these DTT or any kind of pesticide. Then some bird comes and eats these fishes, or if it is in fields, directly we have birds coming and eating these pesticides. So what has happened is, the eggshells of these birds, they have become very lighter in weight. They have become very thin because of this biomagnification. And even before the chick comes out, even before the incubation period, what is happening is the egg breaks. Okay. So what is happening? It is something like a miscarriage which happens in case of human beings. So here in plants, the shell is a protective covering for the embryo development. So when the shell itself becomes very thin and it is just broken out, what happens? The population of these birds start decreasing. Okay. So this is one example of biomagnification what you can give. Okay, what is meant by trophic level in a food chain? Construct a terrestrial food chain with trophic levels. The energy flow in a food chain is always unidirectional. Why? Again, concept is the same, but the question is being asked in different manner. So we have discussed what is the trophic level. So we have been discussing about the various trophic levels: producers, primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer. Correct? So the various steps which is representing organisms in a food chain where there is transfer of food and energy, that's called as a trophic level. So they have asked us an example of a terrestrial food chain. You can give any example, children. Grass eaten up by a grasshopper, grasshopper eaten up by a frog, frog eaten up by a snake. This is another example of a terrestrial food chain. So here we have another example: grass eaten up by a rabbit, rabbit by a wildcat, wildcat by a tiger. So you can give any example for this. Okay. Different steps through which food passes. Okay. Here we are not only talking about food, by means of food we are talking about the energy also. Okay, it is not just food, Gautami. Definitely it is part of our food, correct, because we obtain food from the producers. So that's why we are putting food, and also along with food it is the transfer of energy. That's why we have mentioned both. Okay. So you can give any example of a terrestrial food chain. And unidirectional flow, because from solar radiation, that is the photosynthetically active radiation, is being given to the plants, from plants to the herbivores, from herbivores to the carnivores. It cannot be the other way around: carnivores giving herbivore, herbivore giving plant, and vice versa to the sun is impossible, because we cannot make our own food. So transfer of energy is only from the sun to the carnivore and not vice versa. Okay, give one example each from your daily life where the domestic waste can be effectively reused and recycled. So this is a application based question. You can give any example, children, from your house, whatever you feel you are recycling and using. Okay. So whichever you feel you want to give, you can give. But here I have given a very simple example of plastic and glass jars of jams, pickles, etc. So definitely every house will have bottles of jams and pickles. Okay. So instead of throwing out these plastic bottles, once you complete the jam or a pickle, you can wash it and you can use the same bottles to store anything like salt, sugar, tea powder, coffee powder, or any such storage material, or some kinds of fruits or any grains or dry nuts can be stored and kept. And then what happens, when the glass or plastic metal is worn out, it can be recycled. So you can give it for recycling for making fresh materials of plastic, glass, or any other kind of metal objects. Alright, suppose you find a heap of domestic waste in a nearby park which is decomposing. What would you do to make people of the surrounding area realize that such type of disposal of domestic waste is harmful to the environment? So again, this is an application question where you can give your own thoughts and views, okay, but here I am giving you an answer where you can just download and have it for your reference. Based on this, you can build up your content more, okay. So this is just analysis of what people will do. What is the basic thing? Maybe you are staying in an apartment or a house. Next to your house there is a park and there is lot of waste material which is being stinking because of decompose, because of microbes feeding on it. So what would you do? Okay. All right. Okay. So in such cases, what can you do? You can take survey, you can call people from your apartment or surrounding, you can give them information as to what should be done, what should not be done, or you can post some ads, pamphlets can be given as to how you can dispose the waste, okay. So you can call out people, I told you can conduct seminars, give them information about how this waste can have an effect on the environment. You can use pamphlets and posters for providing information, and you can also form an eco club. These days every apartment or every area has such clubs, okay, where they conduct meeting. So you can have such eco clubs and tell them about what are the ill effects of waste, okay. So it can cause health hazards, or it can cause it can give a place for mosquitoes breeding, it can cause malaria and various diseases. So all of these are things that you can inform the people. All right. So these are quite a few questions that were repeated. You can add on to these since it is application based. Keep this as a base and you can build up content. All right. So Sangeeta, I have seen your question. You can please post your question. Please join our WhatsApp channel and you can get the answer for your questions. All right. Okay. So we will wind up here for the day. All right. Thank you all. I think this is our last class. This is my last class. So next class, sir will be taking up the chapter, I think life process or a new chapter. Please do join the class. Once the class is done, link will be provided in the comment section. Please download it and